Whole time, to keep it 103. I ain't gotta argue with your fuck nigga. All I gotta do is what I've been doing. Keep dropping these gems. Watch this, and I'll be back.
When you look at the Byrd papers, and you would read his diary on April the 7th, 1728, he actually visited our reservation in Jerusalem, Cortland, Virginia. And what's so interesting about that, he described how our people look. He said the young men came out and their faces were painted and they made all kinds of grotesque figures and they danced for him to the sound of a gore drum stretched tight with an animal skin. Then he said the young women came out and they were tall and shapely and dressed in their finery. Their hair was braided, and they had white and blue conch shells in their hair that hung like locks and around their neck. And then they had wrapped around their body a match coat, which was red and blue, which is a shawl, that fitted loosely about their body, that their mahogany skin shone through. Their mahogany skin shone through. Then he went. Let me get this point. He went on to say that these dark angels would make exceptional wives for the English planters, and their dark skin would bleach out in 2 generations. Unquote. That's a quote that he made.
So that was the whole goal, was to try to bleach out, as they say.
Yeah, but it kind of tells you that first Americans were a rich brown people. They were mahogany in color.
Now let's take a look at this chart of different shades of mahogany. And just like mahogany are different shades of brown, so is my people. Now, what's also interesting is when you go down to the 3rd row and 2nd column, you'll see African mahogany right there. And it's almost pink and lighter than the rest of the mahoganies except for burnt sienna. But right next to African mahogany is American mahogany. And why is American mahogany a much richer brown than African mahogany could ever be? Keep that in mind on what I'm about to show you. Mahogany, Sweetenia mahogany, and S. macrophylla, pre-contact Mesoamerican, South American tropical forest cultures. Mahogany is a hardwood producing tree that grows in Meso and South America, primarily in what are now Brazil, Bolivia, and southern Mexico. Although a variety of mahogany is indigenous to Africa, Caia avrorinus, American big leaf mahogany, Sweetenia macrophylla, is the most traded on the world market. Mahogany trees grow to heights about 100 feet. The wood they produce has a reddish brown color, is easily worked, and can be polished to a high shine. Pre-contact Indians of both Meso and Southern or in South America utilized mahogany for making tools and utensils as a building material because it was strong and waterproof. It resisted rotting and it contained a natural insect repellent, which helped to protect their homes against termites and other insects. The indigenous people of pre-contact South America were the first to make boats from mahogany. Since these trees were so large, only one was needed to make a canoe. They constructed these canoes by hollowing out the huge logs. Cuban mahogany, Sweetenia mahogany, was the first encountered by Europeans. Spanish explorers quickly adapted mahogany for their purposes. Hernan Cortez began using mahogany wood for shipbuilding in 1521 because the trees are so large. Great distances can be spanned with a single length of timber, making mahogany planks very useful in the construction of ships. By the late 1600s, mahogany was used to make furniture for the English upper class. It's crazy how some of our people let these crackers convince us that we're black and the people they call brown aren't peach, pale, and tan. But look at chestnut right there. Keep that in mind. Chestnut was a color released in 1903 as a crayon. Its release name was Indian Red, which was later changed in August 1999. The original name came from the color of a pigment popular in India, they say, but we know that's not true, but had an unintended side effect. Kids were mistaking it for the meaning of the skin tone of Native Americans, because Native Americans went and complained because most of them are pale skin, peach skin, the same color as the colonizers. But one thing they ain't is mahogany or chestnut, like the true indigenous peoples of these lands. Oh, and another reason we know they capping because at the time this was made in 1903, India didn't go by that name. It was still being referred to as Hindustan. It didn't change its name to India primarily or officially until 1947. So we know Crayola couldn't possibly been talking about those people over there. He was talking about the true indigenous people of this land who are Indian red or copper colored or mahogany or just brown skin. Peace, love, and power to my people.